Thank you for coming out to support us. Welcome to the newest installment of BackTalk at the Front. Tonight our panel is going to be on arts criticism and writing. And before we get started with the panel, I just want to encourage you to peruse the materials we have in the back there on the table. We are in the middle of our fall fundraising campaign. We have books and t-shirts for sale, and also to check out the current show we have before you head out tonight. We are very pleased to have this very illustrious panel of speakers with us tonight. They are made up of people in arts from all different fields, and I'll go ahead and introduce. Right now we have our wonderful moderator, Cynthia Scott. Cynthia is a visual artist and a radio announcer who formed and chaired Current NOLA, a discussion group and think tank of artists and writers engaged in raising the national and international profile of contemporary art in New Orleans through dialogue and critical writing. Then we have Doug McCash. Doug was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and has lived in New Orleans for 32 years. He was the Contemporary Art Center's curator of visual arts in the late 1990s. He's been art critic and staff writer at the Times-Picayune newspaper for 11 years. He attended the 2009 International Arts Journalism Institute in Visual Arts. He was a 2006 USC Annenberg Getty Arts Journalism Fellow. And in 2006, he was part of the Times-Picayune staff who was awarded Pulitzer Prizes in the breaking news reporting and public service categories. And we also have Ylva Rouse, and she is Deputy Director for Curatorial Affairs at U.S. Biennial Incorporated. She came to New Orleans from Madrid, Spain, where she ran a contemporary art gallery space for 10 years, and she previously worked at the National Contemporary Art Museum, Reina Sofia, for many years. We have Eric Bookhardt. Eric is an art reviewer for the Gambit Weekly newspaper, the art reviewer for the Gambit Weekly newspaper, the regional editor for Art Papers magazine, the editor of Inside Art New Orleans blog, website, and he has contributed to many other national art magazines as well. We have Adam Falik. Adam Falik is a writer of culture, fiction, and drama. He has published short stories, produced plays, written about film and music for Rolling Stone, as well as other journals. His art writings have appeared in Art Voices, Cultural Vistas, The Sun, and several art blogs. And he is currently writing the catalog for the Saratoga collection, which includes 40 essays on 40 New Orleans artists. And we have Rashida Ferdinand. Rashida is a project manager of the Contemporary Visual Arts Association of New Orleans, as well as the director of Sankofa Community Development Corporation, and founder of the Sankofa Marketplace in the Lower Ninth Ward. Also a working artist, Ferdinand was one of the recipients of the Joan Mitchell Foundation Sculpture Commission in 2008. This evening, she's representing the new critical art website Pelican Bomb, a project of Savannah. Please join me in welcoming our panel and moderator tonight, Cynthia. Could you go ahead and get started?
Thank you, everybody. Before we start, the format will be discussion amongst the panel, followed by, of course, Q&A. And I feel bound to say this because of the sometimes combative nature that can arise with art criticism. Please be respectful. We are very, very lucky to have all these very busy people here tonight. So it's not time to bash the critic. It's time for dialogue. So that's my nasty school marm over with. I'd like to start with asking each member of the panel, those who are writers, to describe their personal approach to art criticism. As you know, who lived here, these can differ quite a bit. It's also a way of introduction for those of you who have not lived here for very long and maybe don't know our panelists. For Rashida and Ylva, I'd like for you to describe your projects, so we'll all be well introduced by the end of this portion.
My approach changes from time to time, but I think what I'd love my art writing to be is good storytelling. That the reader, is swept up in the story, and I'd like it. I'd love it that just anybody could be swept up in it. That you don't have to have an art background, I hope, to read my writing, and that's kind of what I'm after.
Well, like Cynthia said, I'm here as representative of Prospect New Orleans, and one of the programs that we have started this fall, we've implemented the pilot program for the Critical Writing Initiative, which is a program directed to university and high school students. This fall, we've started with on university level, but the full program will be implemented for Prospect 2 with Prospect 2 exhibitions. And this fall, since Prospect 1.5, as most of you know, is dedicated to New Orleans artists, we have made a selection of New Orleans artists exhibitions around town, and essentially it's providing material for the teachers to incorporate a critical writing component to their syllabus. And so we provide them with a list of exhibitions, related material, critical samples, critical writing samples, and the idea is to make the students go to see, because we need to see art, and visit the exhibitions, and then they choose one to write a critique about. And then within the class, they choose one that they then present for publication. And we will be doing a little catalog for them, and also uploading it to the Critical Review online magazine, the Pelican Bomb, that Rashida's going to tell you about. And as introduction, leave it at that.
Wait, he has his own
Does this work? It's working? Okay. I was afraid somebody was going to ask what I do. I really don't have any idea. I look at stuff and I try to see what it's trying to say, both personally and culturally, and then try to put it into some sort of context, both personally and culturally, and beyond that I really have no idea. Next.
You're not going to get out that easy.
You can ask me later.
Camille Poglia, in a recent book on her poetry criticism, she's writing a book on visual art criticism next, she said that all criticism is an act of creation, and I've always abided by that. I feel that what the artist creates belongs to them, what I see belongs to me, and the criticism becomes the point of contact, and hopefully there is some contact, and we put it contextually or historically, and that's what the criticism does from my point of view.
So Pelican Bomb was created as a project of the Contemporary Visual Arts Association of New Orleans, I would say roughly about 6 months ago. This organization is more of a loose, it's a coalition of art directors, museum directors, collectives, who decided to come together to address the needs for advocacy and promotion and collective work between these groups, any group that wants to be a part of it, to show that New Orleans is could be a place, is a place for visual arts, and to have our municipal representatives and people who promote the city also see visual arts as a resource to bring people to the city. So Pelican Bomb was identified as a need based on focus groups that were held with visual artists for a couple of months. It was last year, and they were asked, what are some things that you want to see happen? What's very important to you for visual arts? What could help you showcase your work, promote your work, give your work more voice and vision to other people? And they said a website. So we have a lot of websites already developed in New Orleans. A lot of artists have come together to create websites that identify the need for critical review. Cynthia's groups have been working on that. Courtney Egan's worked on. A lot of people have done that. We wanted to support what other people have done and just continue to develop it and build capacity. And that's what Pelican Bomb is about. So it will be an online resource, a critical review of contemporary visual arts. we're in the process right now of hiring an editor. We've been interviewing people for this position. The website's going to not just focus on the